blood, silence, and then chaos. That's how Gen V Season 2 ends, with a moment that flips the entire series upside down and leaves every fan questioning who the real hero is. The final episode doesn't just close a chapter. It sets fire to everything we thought we knew about Godolkin University, Vought, and even the future of the boys' universe. The last 10 minutes are a storm, not just of action, but of truth, betrayal, and power. And the way it all unfolds. It's pure emotional destruction disguised as heroism. The episode opens in the aftermath of the massacre from episode 7. The hallways of Godolkin are no longer a school. They're a war zone. Broken glass, blood-soaked floors, and the eerie sound of distant alarms echoing through empty corridors. Marie stands at the center of it all, her hands trembling, still wet with blood, not just from others, but from her own wounds. The weight of everything she's done and everything she's lost presses down on her like a physical force. You can see it in her eyes. She's not the same girl we met in season 1. She's seen too much. She's crossed lines that can't be UNCRLSSED. Meanwhile, Jordan and Andre argue in whispers, their faces half-lit by flickering lights. They're not talking about survival anymore. They're talking about what's right, about whether they've become the monsters they were trying to stop. It's a quiet, painful moment that says more than any explosion could. The friendship between them, once unbreakable, now feels fragile. Every word is coated in guilt and doubt. They don't even know if they're on the same side anymore. And then there's Cate. Her powers have grown stronger, but so has her hunger for control. She believes she's saving everyone, but in reality, she's becoming the very thing she swore to fight, a manipulator, a god in her own mind. When she looks at Marie, it's not with hatred. It's with disappointment. The kind that comes from someone who truly believes they're doing the right thing, even as they destroy everything in their path. The tension between them feels electric, two forces, both broken, both desperate, pulling in opposite directions. As the chaos spreads, the truth about the woods begins to surface. We finally see the layers of Vought's experiment, not just a lab, but a breeding ground for controlled chaos. Every student was part of a plan, a piece of data, a weapon waiting to be used. And the chilling part, the people behind it aren't in some dark room. They're the faces we've seen smiling on TV, giving interviews, pretending to care about young heroes. The idea that these students were never meant to be free, only tested, hits hard. It's a reminder of what this universe has always been about. Power disguised as purpose. Marie's powers start to react unpredictably as the truth sinks in. Blood bends and dances in the air, almost like it's alive. It's not just a weapon anymore. It's a reflection of her rage and fear. Every drop tells a story of pain, loss, and betrayal. For the first time, she stops trying to control it. She lets it flow, lets it move through her like instinct. It's one of those moments where you realize the show isn't just about violence. It's about identity. About how the very thing that makes you powerful can also destroy you from the inside. The first act of the episode builds this emotional storm slowly. No flashy cuts, no jokes to break the tension. Just raw, heavy silence between moments of chaos. You feel trapped in the same nightmare as the characters. The world outside Godolkin keeps spinning, unaware of what's happening inside those walls. But for the students, this is the point of no return. Whatever comes next, they know they'll never go back to being students, or friends, or even heroes. The line between good and evil has completely disappeared. By the end of this section, you can feel the story shifting. Every character is being pushed toward their breaking point. The truth about the woods, about Vought, about what it really means to be a Gen V hero, it's all coming out, one painful secret at a time. And as Marie stares down that long, blood-streaked hallway, you can almost hear the unspoken thought running through her mind. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of something darker. Everything starts quiet to quiet. The kind of silence that feels wrong, like the air itself is waiting to explode. The camera follows Marie through the ruins of Godolkin, her footsteps echoing against shattered walls. She's looking for answers, but what she finds instead is fear. Every corner she turns reveals more proof that the school she thought was training heroes was really building weapons. Students, her friends, are missing. Their names erased, their rooms cleaned out as if they never existed. The realization hits her, this isn't just about control anymore. It's about covering up something monstrous. Meanwhile, Jordan stumbles into the old medical wing, where a section of the ceiling has collapsed. Under the rubble lies a hidden door marked restricted access. What's behind it changes everything. Inside is the woods, or what's left of it. Flickering lights expose broken equipment, shattered glass tanks, and the smell of chemicals hanging thick in the air. Files are scattered everywhere, and among them, footage, test videos of experiments done on students. The screen shows faces they all recognize. Students who died mysteriously. Students who were transferred. The truth is brutal. Vought wasn't studying powers. They were manufacturing obedience. Then Cate appears. She's calm, and that's the most terrifying part. Her voice is soft, almost kind, but her words cut deep. She reveals she's known about the woods all along. Vought didn't control her, she helped them, believing it was the only way to keep order. In her mind, chaos kills, but control saves. To her, Marie's defiance is dangerous. The others call it betrayal, but Cate calls it leadership. This moment splits the group completely. Jordan stands frozen, Andre's fists clench, and Marie can barely breathe. It's one of those moments where the show reminds us, in the world of Gen V, morality isn't black and white. It's blood red and full of lies. The confrontation that follows is heart-shattering. Andre, who's always been the heart of the team, tries to reason with Cate. He tells her they can expose Vought and this nightmare together. But Cate doesn't want to end it. She wants to reshape it. She uses her power, and for a moment, the screen goes silent. We see Andre's eyes glaze over as she whispers something into his mind. The camera lingers on his expression, the struggle in his body as he fights her control. It's a small scene, but it's pure horror, not because of what's shown, but because of what's implied. Power in this world isn't about strength. It's about who can take your will away. As chaos breaks out, the students who survived the earlier episodes begin to riot. The hallways erupt in screams and flashes of energy. Everyone's turning on each other, not knowing who's friend or foe. The editing becomes sharp and fast, echoing the madness spreading through the campus. You see glimpses, a student using fire powers to defend themselves, another one collapsing as their ability consumes them. It's like the school has become a living nightmare where every secret burns its way to the surface. Amid this storm, Marie finds herself face-to-face with Cate once again. The dialogue between them is the emotional core of the episode. Cate accuses Marie of being naive, of not understanding what real sacrifice looks like. Marie fires back, saying that control built on fear isn't saving anyone. It's destroying them. Their argument turns into a physical and emotional battle, not just of powers, but of beliefs. When Marie's blood powers clash with Cate's psychic control, the screen turns into a swirl of red and light. It's less a fight, more a collapse of two ideologies. The sound fades, leaving only their labored breaths and the hum of destruction around them. In the midst of this battle, the real twist drops. Hidden inside one of the wood's broken servers, Marie discovers a series of encrypted files labeled Project B2. She opens one, and what she sees leaves her speechless. It's not just data, it's footage of the boys, not just mentions, but proof that Vought's next experiment is tied directly to them. Gen V isn't just a side story, it's a bridge. A dark experiment meant to create the next generation of controllable supes for Vought's global expansion. The students weren't heroes in training. They were prototypes. Test subjects for a war that hasn't started yet. As the truth unfolds, the entire tone of the episode shifts. This isn't about saving the school anymore. It's about surviving the truth. Marie's powers begin to spiral again, reacting to her emotions, painting the walls in shades of red. Jordan and Andre help her escape, but the damage is done. The campus burns behind them as Cate watches, her face unreadable. Is she broken, regretful, or just waiting for her next move. The camera doesn't tell us. It lingers on her expression long enough to make us wonder if she still believes she's the hero of this story. By the end of this section, the weight of what's been revealed feels crushing. Every promise of safety, every lesson, every moment of pride the students ever felt, all of it was built on lies. And as the smoke rises from Godolkin, the show quietly reminds us, this isn't just the end of an episode. It's the death of innocence in the Gen V universe. Because now, they all know the truth, and once you see the monster behind the curtain, you can never pretend it's not there again. The last 10 minutes of Gen V Season 2 Episode 8 don't feel like television. They feel like a slow, deliberate breakdown of everything we thought we understood about this universe. After the chaos at Godolkin, the smoke hangs low over the campus, and the world suddenly seems smaller, quieter, almost afraid of what it's become. The episode doesn't end with a victory. It ends with a question, one that shakes every character, and even us, the audience. What does it mean to be a hero in a world where every act of heroism is built on someone else's pain? The camera lingers on Marie as she walks away from the burning remains of the woods. Her clothes are torn, her face streaked with ash and blood, but her eyes are calm in a terrifying way. She's crossed a line she can't come back from, and she knows it. In that stillness, she realizes that surviving isn't the same as winning. Every scream, every betrayal, every drop of blood on her hands has brought her to this one truth. The system can't be reformed. It can only be destroyed. The final shot of her walking through the ruins feels symbolic. She's not escaping. She's being reborn. Jordan and Andre stumble behind her, silent. Their friendship has survived, but it's changed. You can see it in their faces. The innocence that drove them in Season 1 is gone. What remains is exhaustion, guilt, and a strange new clarity. They finally understand that their powers don't make them special. They make them targets. The government, Vought, even the public. Everyone wants a piece of them. The idea of heroes feels hollow now. And that's exactly what the show wants us to feel. That heavy, uneasy emptiness that comes when idealism dies. Then, the scene cuts and we see Cate, alone, standing amid the ruins of Godolkin's courtyard. The fire reflecting in her eyes like tiny suns. She's not broken. She's reborn in her own way. Her voice plays in a soft monologue, a calm, haunting reflection about order and chaos. She says that power without control is dangerous, but control without compassion is death. It's hard to tell if she's realizing her mistake or doubling down on it. The ambiguity is chilling. Her expression stays unreadable, the kind of calm that makes you uneasy. As if she's planning something far bigger than we can see. And then comes the real shock. The post-credit style reveal that ties Gen V directly to the boys. A cold, sterile lab bathed in white light. Scientists in Vought uniforms transfer samples labeled Subject M, Subject C, and Prototype V2. The camera pans to a sealed chamber. Inside, something stirs, something alive. We don't see it fully, just a silhouette, but the implication is clear. Vought's experiments aren't over. The destruction of the woods wasn't the end. It was a reset. The project has evolved. The next generation of supes isn't going to be trained in a classroom. They're going to be bred in a lab. That's the birth of Project Vought. The brilliance of this ending is how it mirrors the themes of The Boys itself. Every time we think the monster has been defeated, it just changes form. The system doesn't collapse, it adapts. The characters might believe they've won freedom, but in reality, they've just stepped into a larger cage. It's a message about cycles of power, corruption, and rebellion. Marie's triumph isn't really a victory. It's just the first spark of a bigger war. And the fact that she doesn't smile, doesn't celebrate, tells us she knows it. Another layer of meaning hides in the visual symbolism. The red and white palette, blood and purity, runs through the entire finale. Red follows Marie everywhere, while Cate is always bathed in sterile, artificial light. It's a contrast between raw humanity and cold control. By the end, the colors merge in the burning campus, suggesting that these two forces are destined to clash again. It's poetic, in a dark, Gen V kind of way, beauty and horror blended into one. The final montage seals the message. News reports roll across TV screens, Vought blaming rogue students, the government promising investigations, influencers debating morality while the truth is buried under headlines. It's eerily similar to how The Boys portrays the real world. Outrage on the surface, silence underneath. The world moves on, pretending to learn lessons it never will. Meanwhile, our heroes disappear into the shadows. They aren't celebrated. They're erased. History belongs to whoever controls the narrative. And in this universe, that's always Vought. Then there's the final, quiet moment, a heartbeat sound, faint and rhythmic, as the screen fades to black. It could be Marie's heart, or maybe the pulse of Project V to coming alive. Either way, it's a haunting metaphor. No matter how many times you kill the monster, it always finds a way to breathe again. This ending isn't just closure. It's transformation. It shifts Gen V from a story about young supes trying to find their place into a political thriller about the creation of a new world order. The heroes are no longer students. They're survivors, fugitives, revolutionaries. And that's what makes the ending so powerful. It's not about hope. It's about awareness. It's about realizing that in a world built on lies, the truth doesn't set you free. It makes you dangerous. And that's exactly who Marie and her friends have become. Dangerous, unpredictable, and unshackled. As the episode ends, we're left not with satisfaction, but with tension. The kind that lingers long after the credits roll. The message is clear. This isn't the end of Gen V. It's the ignition point of something much darker, something that's going to ripple straight into the Boys universe. And when that happens, every choice made in this finale will come back with consequences that no one, not even Vought, will be able to control. The final act of Gen V Season 2 Episode 8 isn't just an ending, it's a warning. Every frame feels like a quiet whisper from the creators saying, "You have no idea what's coming next." And they're right. The finale doesn't wrap things up neatly. It opens 1,000 new questions that stretch far beyond Godolkin University. What we witnessed wasn't closure. It was an ignition. A spark that will burn its way directly into The Boys Season 4 and beyond. The moment the camera cuts from the ruins of Godolkin to the cold Vought lab, the connection becomes undeniable. The scientist's dialogue mentions something chilling, cross-genetic stability. That phrase alone changes everything. It suggests that Vought isn't just experimenting on college-aged supes anymore. They're merging Compound V with other unknown elements. Maybe biological enhancements, maybe cloned DNA, maybe something worse. The goal? A version of Compound V that doesn't just create powers, but controls who gets them, how they work, and when they activate. Imagine a world where Vought can switch off a supe with the press of a button. That's not power anymore. That's GODHOOD. And then there's the brief mention of Homelander. His name appears in one of the lab files, not as a subject, but as a template. Subject age reference for stability ratio. This means Vought is trying to duplicate him, not just his abilities, but his perfect balance of power and image. They've learned from their biggest mistake. They don't need another Homelander who acts on impulse. They want one who obeys. That's what Project V2 is all about, creating the perfect soldier, a being with limitless power and zero free will. And now, thanks to the Woods and Godolkin's data, they have the blueprint. The tie-in to the Boys universe becomes even clearer when we see the security footage, a single shot of Huey's father's hospital file. It's there for less than a second, but it's deliberate. It suggests the spread of Compound V is no longer limited to the superhuman world. Ordinary people are being drawn into this web, whether they know it or not. The walls between the Boys and Gen V are collapsing. Every secret that Marie uncovered is a direct threat to Vought's empire, and that's exactly why they'll go after her next. But let's talk about the real meaning of this ending. Thematically, this finale flips the entire moral compass of the show. In Season 1, Gen V asked, what kind of person becomes a hero? By the end of Season 2, the question changes to, Can heroes even exist in a world built on lies? Marie, Jordan, Andre, and Cate each represent a different answer to that question. Marie embodies rebellion, the painful, bloody kind that doesn't come from righteousness, but from survival. Jordan represents the internal war between identity and morality. Andre symbolizes loss, the cost of doing the right thing when it destroys everything you love. And Cate, the most complex of them all, stands for control, the seductive illusion that power can fix what it breaks. The beauty of the ending is that none of them win. There's no clear victory, no neat resolution. Just truth cold, raw, and uncomfortable. Because in the boys' universe, truth isn't liberation. It's damnation. Once you see how the machine works, you either destroy it or become part of it. That's the decision waiting for Marie in the next season. Will she expose Vought and risk becoming a monster herself? Or will she play their game and tear them down from the inside? Now, when it comes to predictions, the potential directions for Gen V Season 3 are massive. First, expect the narrative to leave the campus entirely. Godolkin served its purpose. Now the story is going global. With Vought rebuilding the woods under the radar, we might see new facilities, maybe even international ones. The world's governments are aware of Compound V now, and they won't sit idle. We could be heading into a full-scale arms race for superhuman control, with Gen V's characters caught in the crossfire.